Hello, this is Perry Pencil, and today I'm going to show you how to draw Cyborg from the Justice League movie. Let's begin. So as I always do, come down a little bit, maybe about half an inch or an inch even. Divide the page in half. For this drawing exercise, this is going to be a bust drawing. That simply means that it's going to be Cyborg's head and just his shoulders and his upper chest. And that's pretty much it. Once we sketch this his head in for the oval with the oval shape here, let's go ahead and put 2 lines in for his neck. And normally I'd like to do an oval shape right underneath that, not a full circle because then the neck would be too long, but normally an oval shape because that'd be about the length of the neck from here to here. Now let's go ahead and get the proportion of his chest in. So the top of the head to his chin will be the index and the thumb. Move that down, and that will be actually underneath the neck. That will be about where his chest is. Now let's go ahead and put his chest line in, and then we can go ahead and put his shoulders in. And for the shoulders, we go ahead on and put a straight line across like this. And for this drawing, he's standing off-centered, so we can have his chest go off the page or the center line go off the page. And for this, I usually like to do what I call a coat hanger. That's where I come up to the back of the neck and then down on the left side. And then you can determine from there where everything falls into place off of this here, which would be the left side of his chest. And then you can put the other side on the right side like this. And the hanger would make up the triangular shape that we have here. As far as his arms go, you can put his shoulder here, which is a simple circle, and then put the circle here. Notice this circle is fully exposed. This one is cut in half by his chest because you don't see the entire shoulder. And then have this go off the page and do the same thing for his left side. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on up to his face. Because this is a bust drawing, I don't need to zoom in for this one. So let's go ahead and begin drawing. Just always start with the eye line because that's kind of like the focal point of a plus sign. And I usually put temple lines in like I'm doing right now. The temple lines does from front to side, and it gives time for like the hairline and the eyes not to be next to the very edge of the head. I would like to start off with his eyebrow, so just go ahead and simplify this by putting the eyebrow in and then have it come almost to the center but not quite, and come down. And I usually do an oval shape for the eye because it's simpler. You don't want to put any detail right away in case you make any mistakes. Now go ahead on, move down to his nose. For his nose, I usually like to make a triangular shape, and then that be the distance of where the nose should be. And then put another circle for the left eye, just like this. And you can touch the very edge. Put the same eyebrow line in here. You'll see what I'm doing later because his face is divided in half. And then you can put his lips right underneath the triangular shape. Now, you have this kind of established on a simplistic face. We'll go ahead and put the details of his nose in. For his nose, it's very simple. You just put a line here and then another line here. And then his nose is peculiar. It has a little shape that goes, his nostril comes in and comes down in the center like this, and then goes up on the other side. And I do like to emphasize that when these drawings are being done, they're specifically for learning purposes and not portrait. Portrait is something altogether different where you're trying to match exactly what the person looks like. This here is a likeness and for you to learn. All right, so let's come on back to his eye. His eye, the way he's looking in this particular picture is his eye comes over and is kind of almost not excited at all. So you can put half of his eye, or the iris, in the color part of the eye right here, and then just come up underneath like this and close it. And then we can do the rest of his eyebrow here. Just add a little bit of detail there, not too much. His eyebrows are very thick. That's one characteristic I do want you to pay attention to, and shade that in a little bit. Now we can go ahead and move to his lips. Let's do the top lip. You just simply come up and then put a cleft in the middle here, down. I call it the M. Whenever I think of lips, it looks like the letter M, and then you kind of repeat this like a W shape here, and then come down for the bottom lip. And it's going to come up, I'll close it on this side, and I usually like leave one side open, and it's for light. Now, when you come to the left side of his face, we want to divide that in half because he is Cyborg. So let's go ahead and work on that. So just have a line that comes down a little bit, come over to the center line like this. If you also, I would like to mention, if you follow these on how to draw a video step by step, you will definitely be able to repeat the same thing I'm doing. It just has to be more than one time. So I encourage you all who are viewing this is to do it multiple times, and you'll get it after you practice over and over again. All right, so if you notice, I put a circle in the middle of his forehead. That's kind of like the focal point of Cyborg's, I think it's the third eye, or his central part of his mind with the cyborg and his merge. So that's right in the center of his forehead. You can come on down to the bridge of his nose, and then right where this part here is under the eye, bring that over like this. Right now we are concentrating on his cyborg mask on the left side of his face. This part curves around, and then it comes right on his cheek, and then it comes off the side of his face like this. As far as the eye goes, there's a line that comes straight down in this metallic. So we want to get the metallic look, so have a line come down like this. Then you're going to draw the eye socket like we did over here. The only difference is going to be this is going to be simple or simpler. Come out like that. Then we'll just put in a robotic eye. So let's put, just like we did with this eye, we're going to do this eye. This eye is not going to have anything in it. It's just going to be a plain eye, and it's going to come over like that. Now, there is a contour here that follows around, and it's defined, and it stops about here, and it comes up near the eye. Once you've done that, at the very top of this circle, there is, we're gonna go to the top of his head and come over. There's a box shape that comes down, and it angles like this, and it touches the circle itself in the middle of his forehead. And then there's another line that comes over like this, okay? Now we're gonna go ahead and draw the left side of his head. First, because it's the most detailed, we wanna focus on getting that done properly first. Now, right next to this, there's a piece that comes around and comes in like this. And it comes off the side of his forehead and stops. Then there's another part that comes down like this, and it comes in and meets this line, and this line comes over, and you can stop it. Come up on the temple line here, and then this part's gonna come in for his jawline, and we're gonna stop there. Now we're gonna jump on the right side of his head and do the normal part of Cyborg's head, which is just a regular hair. It's gonna come around. Here's our temple line. So I wanna pay attention to that. Actually, let me move this. And as a guide, that helps us out a lot because we can put his hairline here, right above the eye. We can have it come over and then stop. Then we can have this line come up just like this. And I'm gonna move this back. I have this down too much. So let's bring this up a little higher like this. Okay, so now his hair is here, and then we can have the top of his head come around to the side like that. And his side of his face is covered up. So what I'm gonna do is just do the contour here and then do his jaw and come down like this. And do the same thing for his left side. So let me go ahead and measure that. He has a chin piece that comes in here. So the way I'm gonna measure this is I'm gonna come around like this and then come around like this. And then bring the center in, bring it line up like that. Now we can close this part off and then have the jaw come up and wrap around like that. So he has a complete face structure for the portion of his jaw and going up to his head. And it actually wraps around his entire head. Have that line coming in like that. Then we can have this come over, and this is jawline muscle. Do the same thing for the left side, make it even. And then it looks like what he has, like earpieces or headphones that come around to the cheekbone like this. And then just put a line there. And do the same thing for this side. Let me see, just above the eye so we can stop it about here so it's even as possible. Come down, and then right here, where the bottom of the nose is, that's where we want that to go. And then do the same thing, and this come in like this. Now, as far as the jaw is concerned, we'll make it even, more even. So we're gonna come down and match this side. So I'm bringing a line through here, and that's where the bend of the jaw is gonna come in. And then bring that line around like that. Now, he has a line here and a line here. So now we can move on to his neck. Let's pay attention here. So we want the line, there's a skinny line that comes from under his chin over to the center. And then there's another one that comes over like this. Then you have the other line that comes from behind the jaw and come around like this and stops. And then this one comes from behind the ear and comes down like this. He has two small cords that come in the center, just like that. And then for the center of his neck, let's go ahead and put a line and divide this in half. Follow me step by step here. Come over and then up like that, and then do another one. And then there's one more that goes down into the portion of his neck here. Now, mind you, there are a lot of mechanical parts to Cyborg, so this step-by-step is going to be crucial with where things go. So as I stated before, is these two, and then there's a line that comes straight down like this for his neck. Now, with these cords, they're just going to be regular lines that go across like this, and we're going to have them go across like this as well. Now for the larger cords on his neck, they're more concave. That means that they kind of go in. So you do a V shape. And go past the neckline. Same thing on the left side. All the way up. And for this side, we're going to have a couple of cords that come down like this and then stop. Now I'm gonna start in the center here. Because there's so much detail, I'm gonna go ahead on and show you the larger portions and then work from there. So we have our center line here. So what you wanna do is come straight down, repeat the same thing on the left side, and then kind of come over. So at this point in the tutorial, what I'd like to do is work from left to right, right to left. Because it's easier to follow that way, you don't forget your steps. So notice I did line come down here and here, and they come over like this. Then it comes straight down like this. There's an opening in the center of his chest. And remember, this is a bust. We're not doing his arms going down his forearms or any of that. We're keeping it simplified for the sake of time and how technical Cyborg is. Let this go off the page. Do the same thing here. In the center, kind of like Iron Man, unlike a circle, there's an oval here. So you put an oval shape here and then repeat that shape, just like this. Once you've done that, there's lines that come up on the side like this. It's more like a mechanical structure to it, like computer database and things like that. You can tell there were some things that came together designing him. Once you've done that, we can close this part off. It's going to come over like this to the center and then go up like this. These cords go down into this piece. Now, working off of the center, the larger portions of Cyborg is going to come up on his neck. From behind his neck, we're going to come down, and then we're going to come up like that. And this is the left to right that I was talking about. Do the same thing on the left side, and then come up. And then come down and do the same thing here. But on this side, because his body is turned, you're going to see the other side of that shape like that. Then out of this part, you're going to have mechanical parts that come up and around like this and go down. Now his shoulder has metallic angles that come in and around like this. So you're gonna go down, over, and then down again. I'll repeat that on this side as well. The same thing, over, up, and then it goes up again over this side, like that. Then this portion is gonna do the same thing this side did on the left side, over and then down. So right now we're creating space for everything and all the components that Cyborg has so we can fill it in with the more complex stuff. So bring this line over like this, repeat the same thing here. We're dancing left to right now. Over here, here, and do the same thing here and here. So this stops and it comes into a piece like this. So we have this come down and do the same thing over here. And that piece that it goes into, it comes up like this. Actually, let's move this over. This is foreshortened. So this side is going to be shorter. And then off of this, it comes down. It's going to come on an angle like this, and this is going to come on an angle the same way. We're going to go straight across and come straight across here as well. And then this is going to come over and come down. And do the same thing on this side, but the only difference is going to come over, up, and we're not going to see the other side. We're going to cut that part off. And we're going to come up. And then we're going to come over and meet this part. Now, remember we started this earlier? Now we're going to merge that, or bring that together. Come over. And then we're going to bring this part in here like this. And then stop. Then there's a piece that come over here, and it's like an arrow shape, and it goes up like this. I'll stop there because it gets much more complicated than that. So for now, I would like to build this step by step. Let's come over here and close the shoulder off. Come over is a piece that goes like this as it goes into his arm. And as far as his arm, let's go ahead and do the contour of that. So it just comes around. It's kind of, let's say, angular, or has points to them. They're not rounded like a regular human arm, so we have to keep that in mind. Then there's another piece that comes out like this, and it goes down. And then finally, there's another piece that comes out like this, and we can just take that off the page. And then underneath this, we have a portion of his rib cage that wraps around, and it's a piece of metal that comes down. And this is also gonna go off the page. And then there's components or parts that comes in and out, and it goes up and down. And then there's a portion that comes down like this. And it wraps around like that. And then we can bring it over and do the same thing on this side. And then of course, as I stated before, there's portions of this that you don't see because it goes off the side of the page. And we do this side as well, and then come up. And then there's a back portion to this on the shoulder. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. Do the contour of his shoulder, which is very angular or have points to them, just like we did on the right side. Bring that in, come down. And then of course, like this on this side, we're gonna have that part come around, and then the rest will go off the page. All right. How many of you having fun so far? I hope so. Because once it's finished, you'll appreciate all of the time and patience that goes into mechanical drawings like this one or this character. So we have two lines coming in between these 2 points, and then a little portion right there. And it's kind of like a little mechanical strap that goes in here to control the rotation of his arms. I'm guessing. Not really sure. So just make a little joke there. All right. So right next to this piece here that goes here and here, there's kind of like rotators that come around. So we're gonna do that. And they kind of look like they come to a point. So let's just follow that. And remember, there's 3 of them. And then from here, there's kind of these 2 cords that come out for his rib cage. It looks like these things give him motion. We're gonna come on this side and repeat that same process, but we're gonna only see, let's see, 1, 2 of these. All right. And I'll let a line come in here like this for the sake of continuity or things being the same. So right out of these rotators is a piece that's going to come over to a shoulder pad that wraps around like this. It comes up, it has a point here, and it goes back like this. It comes around, this part goes up. Now, I know I'm saying a lot in regards to what angles are, and again, if you have to pause, whatever you need to do, or go back and look at it again, don't feel afraid to do that. There's many times as I'm doing this, I had to practice this drawing in order to get it right. It's the same as going to be the principle that you have to follow. So let's have these lines come in here like this and go down and over. Now, I'm guessing, again, it's just for the sake of developing this drawing, that Cyborg, when he was created, this kind of didn't have any real form to it yet. So this is like probably the first version of him. So I'm just putting that out there. So if you notice here, I just made a rectangular box on an angle, and there's gears, things like that that come down like that as well. So let's put those in. There's 3 of those as well, like these. Then there's an inner part of his arm that wraps around on this side. And then we have a border here. And then, of course, the bicep and tricep kind of come around on an angle because he's robotic. And this is going to go off the page. And then we're going to put something here, which is a line. And then we're going to close this portion off. Because again, this is underneath the rib cage where our natural body would be. Let's let those cords go into there, and there's a line that's going to go off the page. Of course, we won't see that. And then have this line complete around here and have that come over. Now we're gonna go to his left arm and kind of work the same way, but it's a little bit more simplistic or simple because we've seen different angles of it. So have that come over like this, and around these gears here, this is gonna wrap around like this. And we're gonna have a line come straight down like this. And then once you do that, it's gonna come in, we're gonna see gears here, and then there's a portion that comes up like this. We'll put a line here, and it's going to wrap around like this. And again, this is the bicep and tricep of the robotic part of him, and have that come in there like that. All right, so we got both his arms looking good. Let's put the rest of the cords in his neck, and there's kind of like something back here. There's gears back here I don't want to forget about on both sides. So they kind of rotate in here like this. Let's put some curves in here and stop. Same thing on this side. All right, line here, line here. It's coming together. Now, as far as his chest is concerned, it has a lot of angles. So please bear with me. I'm going to follow this to the letter. Let's see, it's coming down like this. I'm going to come over the centerpiece and do the same thing over here to try and match the right and left side so they look as even as possible. This is going to come down like this and go over and touch that. Now we're going to do the same thing like this. Come over, do this line here, and have that go back. And then there's going to be an angle that goes this way, and then an angle that comes back this way like this and come over, and then come down. This is going to come over here into a point, and then this is going to go like that. And we don't see this side, of course. And then there's other angles within here, like this, that kind of comes out and point. It almost looks like chipped crystals or chipped rocks on Cyborg. And then up here, we're gonna put this in here like this, 2 lines here. And then we can bring these 2 down in an angle like this. This is defining the parts that I wanted to wait up to this point to do, so that it wouldn't be confusing early on in the drawing. So you want to get a foundational base first and then put everything in later, and it won't be as confusing. So underneath here, we're going to go ahead and put this in up, and it just repeats itself. Come over and link with that. Same thing over here. This right here has a kind of triangular shape that goes like this. This is like an important piece, so I want to make sure I concentrate on that. And sometimes it can be tricky working from the left to right, and with the brain, it sees things differently sometimes. So you want to take your time and just make sure you look and see what's going on. Come over like this and do the same thing here. Then have this come down like this come down like that. So if you notice, I'm able to go back and forth and pay attention to minor details here that I might have missed if I went all the way over here and then came back here and forgot this side. So we don't want to do that. Then have this line connect. Same thing here, and that line here and here. And so this piece right here, it has a side to it that comes over like that. And of course this side is a little bit condensed because we don't see that side. And then come over, and then there's one more piece that come in like this. All right, I'm gonna double check, make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm quite sure I didn't miss anything. Honestly, this is as complicated as Cyborg gets. And so if you're drawing along with me up to this point, you've just drawn Cyborg from the upcoming Justice League movie. If you would like to pause it, the only thing I'm going to do at this point is not too much, just clean up a little bit and shade his hair in, and certain parts that I want to shade that it have better contrast in it. But that's going to do it, and I hope you enjoyed. And if you'd like to pause it at the end, you can take a look at it.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe by pressing this round button at the bottom. Also, click on one of the 2 top videos at the top. Please like this video, tell a friend, and share it on Facebook. Thank you. Perry Pencil.